At Ace Speedway, the final lap took on the look of a street brawl. And when it was over, Marty Lindley was left standing in victory lane. Well, just like in the movies, the bruises have healed, the dents are all fixed. Lindley, Bobby Gill, and Jason Sarvis are back to give it another go. Hooters Pro Cup Racing is on your TV.
Green. Go, buddy, go. You're .25 behind the leader. Caution one. Stay low. We're a little less off, too. All right, bring her in. Next time by, we'll go 4 and gas. Well, I think you got into me. Stand on it, buddy. Got 5 to go. You're the man. Great job.
Hello and welcome to Concord Motorsports Park. I'm Brian Drever with Gene Crane upstairs. Doug Rice down in the sunshine for now anyway, doing the honors on pit road for us. As the drivers get ready to go, they have fingers poised on the starter buttons. Let's fire them up.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
32 cars fired alive here at Concord Motorsports Park. It's going to be another exciting night of racing action. 6 times the Hooters Pro Cup Series has been here. Bobby Gill giving us a big wave as he is ready.
All right, just a few moments ago before they climbed in the cars, Doug Rice had a chance to our Advanced Auto Parts pole sitter, Clay Rogers.
In 3 Hooters Cup starts here at Concord, Clay Rogers has been the Advanced Auto pole sitter for each of those races. Now that he's completed the trifecta in qualifying, can you pick up a trophy tonight, Clay?
I sure feel like it. Sun's going down here, thank goodness. It's starting to cool off a little bit. We tried to get our car pretty free during practice while the sun was out. That way tonight when the track comes to us, I hope we'll be able to stay out front all night long. But I just want to thank Advanced Auto Parts for putting up this money for us to go after every week for the pole award, and hey, we can go out and get us a win tonight.
Great racetrack for you. You've got a first and a second here. It's got to pump you up.
I tell you what, there's nowhere I'd rather come than this racetrack right here. It's a short track that drives like a super speedway, because I tell you what, you're hauling butt going through that dog leg over there, and you're really getting it done when you get over to 3 and get on the brake. And it's got a lot of grip. It's a lot of fun. You can race 2, sometimes 3 wide. Maybe that doesn't work out all the time, but it's a multi-groove racetrack. It's got a lot of places to pass. And if your car's good and you can stay out front and have good pit stops, and it's hard to pass.
Clay Rogers trying to pick up his second Hooters Pro Cup victory here at Concord Motorsports Park.
Combining the North and South divisions, 7 different races and 7 different winners have gone to victory lane. Clay Rogers has won from the pole here at Concord. He may have the chance to make it number 8 here tonight.
All right, so we have not had a repeat winner at Concord either. Part of that, perhaps, is because it's a pretty tricky layout.
It is a very tricky layout, a tri-oval racetrack, 14-degree corners. The straightaways, the short chute between 1 and 2, which is the dog leg Clay referenced back there, is very short but pretty well banked. It's an exciting racetrack. It's going to be a roller coaster night tonight. I like to call this place the roller coaster because it reminds me just of that.
Now, Clay Rogers also mentioned the sun going down. It is hazy, hot, and humid here today, and it has been all week long. 86 degrees in the air right now, and on the track 101. That will cool off, and as Clay said, the track will come back to him just a little bit. So the pace car is out. The drivers are trying to get a little heat in the tires. Won't have any trouble with that. Gives us a chance to look at our Jackaroo Sauces starting grid. You met the pole sitter Clay Rogers alongside another one of the protagonists from Ace Speedway, Jason Sarvis in the Black's Tire Chevrolet. Marty Lindley, the winner of the Ace race in the Hooters car, goes with Shane Wallace in the E.M. Wallace Contractors Ford.
Row 3, Bobby Gill, defending champion of this race, starts on the inside in his Crown Point Mortgage Ford, and Stacy Furrier for sponsorship on his Chevrolet on the outside. Shane Huffman, the Genio Turkey Store Ford, starts inside row number 4, along with Mark Nesbitt in a Ford this weekend, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, North Carolina Ford.
A couple of talented rookies. Benny Gordon from Somerville, South Carolina, Baird Auto Transport Ford. Adam Dean out of Bristol, Virginia, the Wesson Oil Peter Pan Peanut Butter Chevrolet. Michael Rich in the familiar Jackaroo Sauces Dodge, and Joe Gaeta in the ACS Systems Ford.
The naturally fresh Ford of Toby Porter starts on the inside of row 7. He's joined by 1997 champion Mario Goslin in car number 10. Daniel Johnson back in action. He's on the inside of row number 8 in the 56. And leading rookie Daniel Quinn Jr. on the outside, the Homesteader Trailer Chevrolet.
In the Lucas Oil Chevy, Steve Christian out of Beaufort, Georgia, goes with Mike Laughlin Jr. in the Finish Line Racing School Ford. On row number 10 is J.P. Morgan in the CrewSchool.com Chevy. and rookie Kevin Love in the J&O Flow Grading Chevrolet.
Andrew Medlin starts the Quality Brake Center Ford on the inside of row 11. Scott Sutherland, my counterpart from the Northern Series, starts on the outside. Chad Mullis, looking for sponsorship on the side of his Ford, starts the number 9 on the inside of row 12. And John Kinder will join him on the outside, the Primetime Auto Sales Ford.
Another pair of rookies on row number 13, hoping to make it lucky. David Stover in the Shaw Industries Chevrolet, Keith Rogan in the Southern Road Builders Chevy. And then back on row number 14, it's Jimmy McLean in the United Contractors Chevrolet. And another rookie, Larry Wilcox out of Denver, North Carolina, the Lugnuts Race Bar and Grill Chevy.
Provisionals will go to David Pletcher. Bucky Pletcher, the 51 car, starts 29th, the Walmart Motorsports Ford. And Don Satterfield, the Hawks Always Treadwell Racing Stuff Chevrolet, starts on the outside of that row. Final row, Todd Hirschfeld in the Next Communications Ford number 68, and Michael Struther, the www.michaelstruther.com Pontiac number 3.
Very close to the start right now, so let's take a look at some of the onboards you're going to see. The 15 of Marty Lindley, that's the Hooters car, looking back from the number 3 start position inside row number 2. And from Toby Porter, you're going to be looking through the windshield at the setting sun for a little while. The naturally fresh number 16 car starting 13th. And finally, Stephen Christian will give us an onboard look from the Lucas Oil number 2 starting 17th. Now, the 84 car is a little bit of a story. Let's go to Doug Rice.
Shane Huffman comes into Concord as the points leader, but there's a bit of uncertainty tonight involving this team. It seems that they struggled with their primary car all afternoon in practice, worked on the carburetor, the fuel cell. No matter what they did, it didn't work. So they switched to the backup car, which has a total of 7 laps on it before they drop the green here tonight.
Well, Brian, if I'm remembering correctly, this is the car that Shane ran over at Lonesome Pine Raceway 2 weekends ago with the Northern Division. And that primary car, when they tested here, they kept having problems with that ignition or the fuel pickup. The car just would not run right. It'd sputter every once in a while. So that problem has been persistent. They've got the backup car, and it's shown very well, running second at Lonesome Pine 2 weeks ago.
And there's our expert commentator from the Northern Division, number 27, dropping back there to the field. He's scheduled to start in 22nd position, but his spotter was late to a meeting, so they make the driver serve detention. Scott asked to stand in the corner, but instead they made him go to the back. Jay Padgett waves the flag on behalf of Food Lion, and we're underway with the Naturally Fresh Foods 250 presented by Jenny O Turkey Store.
Right from the get-go, it looks like Rogers is going to take the point, but Jason Sarvis will fall right in line, nose to tail, as they work through turn 3 for the first time this evening.
Little puff of smoke out of the number 4 Shane Wallace there, as they've got plenty of oil in the catch tank and everything for those dry sump engines. And you know, sometimes it takes a while. You'll see a little smoke now and then off the start. Don't be alarmed. If you need to be alarmed, we'll let you know. Bobby Gill trying to hold back to number 84. A little bit of contact there as these guys are rubbing already. That means they're racing.
And that's Benny Gordon, who ran second at Ace Speedway, the most recent Southern Division event. He's getting with it right early. Second place run for him there at Ace. Had a great showing in his first ever Pro Cup Series race. I'm sure he'd like to step it up one more notch, go to victory lane tonight.
Bobby Gill started 5th, and he's moved away from a little mini melee he was involved with earlier. As we go and see number 29, the leader, battle for second as the 4 of Shane Wallace slides through on the inside there to take the position and then gets a little tap as he goes by. The caution flags waving here early at Concord Motorsports Park.
And Shane Wallace is going around there in turn 3 with the rest of the field bearing down on him. Very lucky here in the early going that he didn't get any damage from that. A new paint job displayed this weekend by Wallace and the number 4 car. They're going to have to start on the tail of the pack after spinning and bringing out this first caution.
Here's our Coca-Cola replay.
You see Sarvis getting into the back of the 4 car. Now, Marty Lindley apparently had committed to the bottom side, and it was lucky for Lindley. He was able to drive by Sarvis and get around without incident. The rest of the field, as I said, not collecting the 4 car.
So Lindley's in second position. They're showing the black flag to Jason Sarvis for not bringing out the caution, but perhaps you could say causing it.
The black flag being issued to Jason Sarvis for a stop-and-go penalty, Brian. He's going to have to go down pit road for that stop and go, and what that's going to do is we're going to relegate him to the tail of the pack, single file restart, because there are no lap cars. He's going to have a long way to get to the front, as will Shane Wallace, the 4 car. They were battling for second when this incident occurred.
Looking to duck down pit road. The 88 car of Adam Dean heads down low. Clay Rogers stays up high with Marty Lindley behind him, and I'm a little more curious about the exchange between Jason Sarvis when he pulled up alongside Bobby Gill. I don't think those two guys have quite forgotten what went on at Ace Speedway.
They've had 3 weeks to get over it, but it doesn't get over easy here in this particular series.
No.
Racing's tough, it's hard, it's short track racing, you're gonna get together, but it's gonna be exciting tonight.
Long memories at the short tracks as Jason Sarvis comes down to serve his stop and go penalty. As you said, that'll put him at the tail end of the field, so he's being given the signal to pull out. As he does, he rolls up to Danny Sheehan at the end of pit road there with the stop-go paddles. And the Naturally Fresh Foods balloon is flying over the race that bears its name.
USAR Hooters Pro Cup Racing is brought to you by Hooters, the cure for the common restaurant. Jackaroo Sauces. Jackaroo is served in America's finest backyard. Miller Lite. Miller Lite is the official sponsor of the USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series. Lucas Oil Products. Lucas Oil Products is a leader in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricant.
As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak, you will stop the seal leaks, reduce slack in rack and pinions, eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It works.
It's your 20th anniversary, and we're throwing a party. Reserve your place for the double-decade celebration and meet me and Hooters girls past and present at Paris, Las Vegas. Come to Hooters today and test your knowledge of our 20-year trivia to win a trip to Vegas. And a chance to play blackjack with me for $1 million. Even if you don't win, you can still party. Call 888-PARTY20 to reserve your place today. It's a delightfully double-decade Hooters 20th anniversary.
The Naturally Fresh Foods 250 single file restart after caution number 1 came out on the 4th lap of the race. So you're seeing all the cars lined up in single file. Doug Rice is caught up with the crew chief on the 22 car, who no doubt has an opinion about the penalty.
Ricky, you guys get popped with a penalty right out of the box tonight, apparently for rough driving. What did the officials tell you?
Well, I don't know. The 4 car got around us there, and he coming by us, he slammed us in the door again and checked up a little bit in turn 3 there, on turn 4, and like I say, Jason got back into him. But like I say, definitely didn't mean to do it. It's just a bad situation there, but we're going to try to be careful and get back up.
Can you guys recover from this and get back up front and contend tonight?
Oh yeah, as long as we stay out of trouble, we'll be there.
Well, better it happens with 4 laps into the race than with 4 laps to go, I would have to say in this case. But yeah, there's plenty of time for Jason Sarvis to get back up front if he's got a car that seems to be pretty good here tonight.
Restart here on lap number 10. We see Clay Rogers jumping right back out in front. Marty Lindley has dropped back. He's in that second spot, but dropped back a couple of car lengths. He's being pressured by Bobby Gill, so we've got a couple of veterans, at least in terms of getting around this racetrack, up front right now and starting to break away a little bit from the rest of the field.
A little too early for Bobby Gill to make a move in that much earnest for the front, but you know what? If he can lead a race, he will. As we look at our Naturally Fresh Field summary, things are a bit different among the top 4 or 5 cars, because 2 of them have been sent to the back. Well, one put himself to the back and the other one was sent there. We're on board with Marty Lindley looking at Bobby Gill, and you can see how close he's getting to the bumper of that Hooters car.
When Bobby's running this far to the front early on, you know it's going to be a tough night trying to get around that number 5, but the tough job right now is going to be getting around Clay Rogers. He was strong during practice and equally strong here in the early portion of this race. We'll see what they've done for the setup. Remember, these cars qualified in a race-ready condition. They couldn't change gears, springs, shocks, or do anything to those race cars other than add the creature comforts before the start of tonight's race.
Well, the tough job might be getting up to Clay Rogers. You can't even begin to strategize about trying to pass him when there's still 6 or 7 car lengths between the nose of your car and the tail of his. If you're Marty Lindley, Clay Rogers has got that Fire Protection Services 29.
Caution.
We got caution, and there it is right behind the leader as the 56 of Daniel Johnson in his checks cashed Casco Signs Monte Carlo is up against the outside wall there, and a lot of folks are looking on thinking, what the heck happened here?
The first time we've seen Daniel Johnson here in 2003, and it's going to be a short night. So it would seem, don't see much action there. Looks like Daniel's got it refired now.
Well, he's sawing back and forth on the wheel. He doesn't have it. Well, if he's got it fired, he sure doesn't have it in gear. He's trying to just roll it back down the track. While some young fans in the stands and a very young Premier Motorsports fan is carrying the numbers of his favorite drivers.
Come on in. Have a seat and I'll be right back. I've never actually done this on the second date before, but I really like you. I thought maybe we could do something different and exciting. You know, fresh. Here goes. Surprise!
Surprise? Naturally fresh, light ranch dressing.
Naturally.
Get fresh with someone tonight. Naturally fresh.
Doesn't Miller Lite taste great?
Less filling!
Wait. What about this? Doesn't Miller Lite taste great? Great taste! Great taste!
Less filling!
Great taste!
Less filling! Less filling!
What do you think about that? That's art.
Tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
I've got an idea.
Welcome back to Concord Motorsport Park. The Hooter girls tossing souvenirs to the fans who are in the stands here tonight. It is definitely becoming a very nice night for racing now as the sun has indeed gone down. Things are cooling off just a little bit. Clay Rogers takes them back to the green flag with Marty Lindley. Bobby Gill running second and third. 19 laps in. Boy, it's taken us a while to get to this point, hasn't it?
It sure has. Stacy Purrier, that fourth position, also starting to step it up a little bit. But Clay Rogers on these restarts, he's got a good gear and a good setup under the car right now. We'll have to see as the sun continues to go down and shadows cast across the racetrack and the track starts to cool a little bit, see what that handle on that race car continues to be.
There's your naturally fresh field summary showing the top five. Here's 6th through 10th positions. Benny Gordon in 6th. As Clay Rogers, very, very talented and smart young driver, has kind of, he's definitely made a presence in Hooters Pro Cup racing. He has also made a little bit of a presence, trying to move on. But he comes back to Hooters Pro Cup, and you heard him say this is his favorite racetrack to compete at right now. You're on board with Marty Lindley, watching Bobby Gill, and that is a daunting sight.
Bobby Gill starting to get some pressure from Purrier. Now Gill takes a peek to the inside of Lindley. The way this racetrack is configured, you want to protect the inside line if at all possible. Looks like Lindley leaving the bottom line open.
Yeah, well, he's pushing up the racetrack, and he's sort of holding up Bobby Gill and Stacy Purrier. At least they feel that way. But they aren't quite strong enough to drive down underneath him. Gill a little loose coming up off the corner there as well. So Purrier's looking to move up a spot. Gill's looking to move up a spot, but nobody's that much better. And we also heard Clay Rogers say it's very difficult to pass here.
That fifth place battle right behind those four starting to heat up a little bit, and some more action behind them. Battle for what would be about 10th position. Michael Rich of the Dodge. And whoa, hang on, Michael.
Look at this.
Steve Christian on the march.
Front of the group is the 92 Martin Nesbitt. You're on board with Stephen Christian, and we've got the 88 car around on the racetrack. Adam Dean in that Wesson Oil Peter Pan Peanut Butter Monte Carlo.
Man, he started 10th tonight, Brian. I thought it was going to be a good night. His first ever Pro Cup Series race, a part-time schedule for 2003 for Dean out of Abington, Virginia. And he just got loose going through the dogleg back there, trying to make a pass to the inside. The car got out from underneath him.
Yeah, they're all pointing over there at the point of contact. Yeah, he was going for position there, and it looked like it just got away from him.
Did a great job of keeping that car off the concrete. Just spun it around, got it backwards there, got it woed down. There's John Kinder, the 08 machine, coming to a stop on pit road after a stop.
They took on 4 tires and apparently just a little too much fuel. Let's go to Doug Rice with Daniel Johnson, our first man out of the race.
The 2001 Rookie of the Year, Daniel Johnson, first out tonight here at Concord. Daniel, you had a nice qualifying effort. Why are you behind the wall?
I'm telling you, it's a shame for this team. We've really worked hard. The checks cashed. Western Union car was really running good, had a good qualifying effort. First race for us all year. We just lost oil pressure and had to kill the motor and bring it in. Safest thing to do instead of, blowing the engine up. So we're done for the day.
Always tough when something, unexplained goes wrong. Now they're under the hood of the 92 car. We're hearing that they felt a little vibration there, so they're trying to figure out what's going on. As you can see, they're searching for mysteries with very few clues at this point.
Brand new Ford for Martin Nesbitt. They tested the car just a couple of laps or very early in the week and looking for some good things out of this race car, but apparently it's going to be a tough night for Martin Nesbitt.
Shaking their heads, putting the pins back in as Adam Dean rolls in with a right rear tire down on the car, and that will certainly come to the attention of his crew as Nesbitt leaves pit road in the 92 Blue Cross Blue Shield North Carolina Ford Taurus. On board the naturally fresh onboard camera there at the Fresh Foods 250.
Hooters Air flies non-stop jet service between Newark and Myrtle Beach. Make reservations online at HootersAir.com or call toll-free at 888-FLY-HOOT. Hooters Air, no games, no gimmicks. One-way pricing, no advance purchase, no Saturday night stay required. Best of all seats, one price, all the time. Call 888-FLY-HOOT or log on to HootersAir.com. Hooters Air puts the fun back into flying.
People think that the Australian outback is full of young, wild ranch hands called jackaroos. Fact is, jackaroos are quite civilised. Until they grab hold of the big, bold taste of their favourite jackaroo barbie sauce. Then things can get a bit out of hand. Every jackaroo knows, if you don't have jackaroo barbie sauce, you ain't got jack.
The Naturally Fresh Foods 250 presented by Jenny O Turkey Store. Southern Division Racing in the Hooters Pro Cup Series at Concord Motorsport Park.
Field riding around under caution after the spin by Adam Dean. Shaping up for the restart. We now see John Kinder's car lining up to the inside, but that's the only car other than Dean that we have a lap down here in the early going. So cautions have really played out and stretched this field out around the half mile.
No trouble so far for leader Clay Rogers as he will start the lead lap cars up on the outside. And once again, when the flag waves, Rogers stands on the gas, opens at least a car length on Marty Lindley. Bobby Gill stays right with Lindley, and so they stay close, but Rogers has been the class of the field as we take another look. 30 laps into the race and our Naturally Fresh Field summary. Mike Laughlin Jr. now rounding out the top 10.
There's Bobby Gill trying to take another look at the inside of the Hooters Ford of Marty Lindley. Lindley's car on the restarts doesn't seem to have quite the hookup. Needs a little bit of a long run to start get that car dialed in. Bobby Gill along with Stacy Puryear trying to put some pressure on for that second position.
Here's the look from the deck lid of Marty Lindley's car back at the number 5. Stacy Puryear also creeping into the shot there, and his number 11 entry out of South Boston, Virginia. He's looking for sponsorship on that car. The 44 of Benny Gordon.
Keep your eye on that car. What a run at Ace Speedway. Came home second after that melee down in turn 3 on the final lap, able to drive through. A little bit of smoke there. That likely was Mario Goslin's car.
A lot of smoke, actually, as he gets off the gas and back on again. You're on board with the Naturally Fresh car number 16. Toby Porter is right there in the middle of all that. There's that puff of smoke. And it is the 10 of Mario Goslin, the Brooks Automotive Group Monte Carlo, giving us some cause for concern.
I already see some damage to the left side of that race car. It's gotten physical early for the 1997 Hooters Pro Cup Series champion.
Apparently he's sucking just a little bit of oil up past the piston rings there when he's off throttle, and then just as he stands on the gas, that tiny little bit of oil just puffs out the back. You see that sometimes when you're driving down the freeway. A car stands on the gas and there's some oil that gets caught up in the top end, and no real cause for concern there other than it is so intermittent that if I'm driving a race car right behind Mario and I see that little puff of smoke, I might check up a little bit. Here comes Jason Sarvis, definitely heading for the front. Yes, his car is good enough to get there as he goes inside the number 60 of Kevin Love, rookie driver out of Midland, North Carolina, and a JO Flow Grading Chevy.
Well, now Kevin, whoa, close call with Medlin there for Shane Wallace. I want to say something about Kevin Love. He's a 3-time feature division champion here at Concord Motorsport Park, so he's no stranger to this racetrack. He's a rookie because this is one of his few starts in the Pro Cup Series. Still getting physical, and around goes Love at turn 3. Hang on, J.P. Morgan.
Oh, man, that was tough. 61. J.P. Morgan, the crewschool.com Monte Carlo, just could not avoid it. Boy, he was doing everything he could to get around. Just clipped the stationary race car number 60 of Love. Interesting to watch Jason Sarvis and Shane Wallace heading for the front together. They're kind of comrades in arms right now after causing the first caution of the race.
Yeah, they got themselves into a little situation there, and now they're having to dig out. Looks like Morgan able to get the car refired, as is Kevin Love. Kevin Love with Freddie Query calling the shots down to the pit area tonight. Here's a replay down into the corner. Looked like Love tried to get to the inside of the 8 of Andrew Medlin. And around goes the 60 car.
Look out, J.P. Morgan. He locked it up and bang, just takes the right front out of his own automobile there against the left side of the 60 car at Kevin Love. Larry Wilcox also down on pit road. It's going to get a little busy down there, and that means here's Doug.
This most recent caution, a real blessing for Joe Gaeta in the 06, the guy that's second in the Southern Division points, apparently had a tire going down, and this caution flag will let him come in and let the crew, well, it looks like right now they're going to go in and make an adjustment on the right front and not change the tire. Of course, you only have a certain number of tires that you can change during the course of the race, and here at Concord, they would hate to use up a set too early, so they're going to the right front of the car and maybe working on an adjustment to change the balance of the car. But for Joe Gaeta, this is a very fortunate yellow flag situation that he's able to make this stop not under the green.
It's a good point that Doug makes out. Only 8 tires allowed for each car to run the 250 laps of competition here tonight. Let's go back down to Doug with more information on the 06 of Joe Gaeta.
Jamie, Joe made a pit stop. You guys thought you had a tire going down, but I noticed you didn't change any. What's the problem?
Doug, we think we got a spring or a sway bar the arm that's broken on it. We're trying to get that fixed on it now.
Is there any way you can make that repair and get him back up to speed?
We're sure going to try hard. We're working on it. This ACS Kimnock 4 is running pretty good. We're just trying to get that sway bar fixed. We feel like we can fix it.
Very important for them to make a repair. Joe Gaeta arrived here at Concord, second in Southern Division points.
Trouble for Gaeta, lots of activity on pit road. The fans are enjoying the evening here. There's also a bit of smoke coming out of Larry Wilcox's car as he goes down inside Michael Struther, a young man we want to tell you a little bit more about. He's racing in the Hooters Pro Cup Series, one that has a lot of prestige. Michael comes to the racetrack, though, not in one of those great big haulers, but a little bitty motor home. Doesn't mean he's not just as determined, though.
Yeah, I graduated from Angelo State University in 1995, I believe. Worked as an accountant for 5 years. And my dream was always to race cars, so I decided in '99 to pursue my dream. So I started working to make it into the Hooters Series, and I've been extremely happy since I've made that decision. I work in my shop 7 days a week, from about 10 in the morning till about midnight every night, and I'm working, trying to keep this car running because I'm working by myself. I can't afford to hire any help. Actually, I had a 3-year plan whenever I started, if I can make it that long. My goal this year is to be able to run middle of the pack, hopefully get a few good finishes, and come close to breaking even as far as weekend race expenses. And then hopefully next year I'll be able to be competitively try to win a few races. I'm working real hard to make it work. It's an awful lot of work, and I'm running out of funds, but hopefully some help will come along as far as sponsorship, and we'll have a happy ending to this story.
Well, Michael Struthers made 3 starts here in 2003, and I guess he's still on his 3-year plan. He has yet to score a top 10 finish, you know what, but he keeps plugging away every week, and we certainly hope to see him there.
I want to tell you, that is a very gutsy story. He gave up everything he had, traded an open wheel SCCA car, a little road race car, for a old Hooters Pro Cup Series machine to go racing. Back underway here, Clay Rogers out front. Marty Lindley again not able to quite keep pace here on the restart, getting more pressure from Bobby Gill as they work back to turn 1.
The more things change, the more they stay the same behind these drivers. Things have changed quite a bit, but up front we've seen the same 4 cars pretty much in the same configuration, with Marty Lindley losing ground, you know, on every.
Oh, Michael Struther in trouble.
Slowing on the racetrack, and perhaps the day is done for Michael Struther. His 18th career start in USAR Hooters Pro Cup racing may have come to an early end. Brings out the caution on the racetrack, and we hate to see that, especially with such a likable young man who graduated from college and then decided to pursue his dream, which is something that doesn't necessarily require a degree, other than a degree of commitment. Hooters girls passing out some snacks to the hungry folks in the stands. They're hungry for some more action, which we'll have when we come back.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas fuel treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas fuel treatment. It works.
Oh, I hate this copier.
I think it knows when you're unhappy.
Know this copier.
Looks like somebody needs to go to Hooters.
Hooters.
Get on up and get on down to Hooters.
Hey, that's an interesting approach.
Oh, I was being one with the copier.
Hooters makes you happy.
Welcome back. You're watching Hooters Pro Cup racing on speed.
Thank you very much, girls. Cars circling under caution, and the line of cars down at the bottom of the racetrack gets a little bit longer behind John Kinder now, the deeper into this race we go. Getting ready to restart. Michael Strother back in the race, and that's good. We always like to see the drivers who appear to be going out of the race get back in. 54 laps, we go green again.
Pretty good battle up front already, though, but still, it's Rogers with just a commanding grip on this lead. Every restart, he's able to jump out and get a pretty good advantage, although this time looks like Marty Lindley's got something for him.
Our Goodyear full field rundown at the top of the screen there shows you where everybody is running. We've been keeping track pretty well of the top 10. Now you're going to know where your favorite driver is in the lineup right now. Side-by-side action there between the two of Steve Christian going down inside on the 50 car, or the 60 car rather, that was involved earlier. Kevin Love up on the outside line, and Christian's getting a little love from Mike Laughlin Jr.
Now Laughlin trying to step it up there, but Kevin Love at the entrance of turn one last time, that car jumped around pretty erratically.
Oh! And Shane
Contact
Wallace
again.
going after it back there with Michael Rich. Sorry, Gene.
Not a problem, and he's got to get going because he's got Jason Sarvis right on his back bumper. Remember what happened on caution number one. Those two got together while battling for second. They're already back to 11th position in just some 50 laps. They've made up a lot of ground.
Like I said, they had to put the gloves down. Any animosity that they may have felt for one another because of that earlier incident had to be put aside because they're freight training towards the front right now. They both go under Mike Laughlin Jr. like he's stuck in neutral, and Michael Rich ducks down inside as well. The 9 car coming up there, Chad Mullis in his Mullis-Well Drilling Ford, making his appearance into this little fracas now as everybody is diving down low. The 94 of Keith Rogan there, the rookie driver out of Winter Haven, Florida. Things getting busy, but Doug Rice has got a story about a man who really had a busy day.
Buddy Hall is the right front tire changer for Todd Hirschfield, but earlier today, he walked down the aisle in his cap and gown as he graduated with a motorsports management degree from the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. So he quickly changed out of the cap and gown without any pomp and circumstance. He's over here tonight changing tires for Todd Hirschfield.
Well, congratulations there, Mr. College graduate.
Things getting a little bit exciting on the racetrack, but I'm going to guarantee you, Buddy had that uniform underneath that cap and gown. He didn't have to change at all. He just took that cap and gown off and got on right out here to the racetrack. Action out of turn 2 over to turn 3. Gosling trying to get by the lap car. That's Kinder up on the outside, and Toby Porter directly ahead as they work off the third turn back to the stripe.
And you're watching it all on boards. Oh, look out, Steve.
Oh, Laughlin
man.
involved as well.
Collected up there.
Looks like the 08 of Kinder may be the car on the outside.
62 laps in, we're under caution again. We've had no shortage of waving yellow flags. Our Coca-Cola replay shows a little contact there from the inside. That's Wallace on Christian. Sarvis gets through, and then Laughlin gets punted by Kinder on the outside. Everybody else slides through untouched.
Yeah, Kinder made a commitment to go to the middle groove, and Laughlin, trying to get on the binders, had nowhere to go, sliding to the outside, the two of them, and around goes Christian.
Let's go down to Doug Rice.
Stephen Christian swings into his pits after an altercation with Mike Laughlin Jr. on the track. He was running 9th at the time. Looks like there's some damage to the left rear of Stephen Christian's machine. Currently 4th in Southern Division points. Doesn't look all that bad, though, as the crew's gone across the wall to try to pull that sheet metal away. But at least from here, it really doesn't look like, guys, that it's going to be a huge problem for Stephen unless he gets pushed in a little bit more and starts to rub against the tire.
And Gene, a little too early to change tires or take on fuel. There's a long way to go to the end of this one. Heck, it's just snack time in the stands.
People think that the Australian outback is full of young, wild ranch hands called jackaroos. Fact is, jackaroos are quite civilized. Until they grab hold of the big, bold taste of their favorite jackaroo barbie sauce. Then things can get a bit out of hand. Every jackaroo knows, if you don't have jackaroo barbie sauce, you ain't got jack.
Get on up and get on down to Hooters, the place to be for chicken wings. Come grab a beer, the game's on here, and the girl next door, good friends and more. If you can't stop by, get our wings to fly. Hooters makes you happy. Right down the street, it's your neighborhood retreat. So get on up and get on down to Hooters.
Welcome back to the Naturally Fresh Foods 250 presented by Jenny-O Turkey Store here on Speed at Concord Motorsport Park. Things are getting ready to get back going again as Andrew Medlin at the Quality Brake Center Ford Taurus has moved up 3 spots, but it's been an action-filled evening for him as it has been for many of the drivers. Clay Rogers has led pretty much from the start of this one, and he's still your race leader.
Mike Laughlin Jr. lost a lap as a result of that caution and spin over in turn number 1. That was Shane Wallace that got into Steve Christian. Wallace had been brought to pit road for a stop-and-go penalty. So for the second time tonight, he'll go from the tail of the pack and try to make his way back to the front. Looks like Rogers has really opened up an advantage over Lindley.
Well, we've seen this happen before, and this time it's just a little bit more dramatic. Lindley stayed close to him on the last restart, but Rogers has definitely edged off into the distance. Now, after they get a few laps under their belt, Marty Lindley, Bobby Gill, and even the 11 of Stacy Puryear, they start to draw up a little bit closer. But boy, on the restart, Clay Rogers has taken that leader controls the restart thing to an extreme, hasn't he?
Stacy Puryear looks like he may have about the fastest car on the racetrack. He's been able to try to point that car down to the bottom side, just not quite enough grip coming up off the corner to make the pass stick with Bobby Gill. There is Laughlin, some damage to the right side of that race car, and it's a little bit off the pace as some of the other the rest of the field goes by, and that was Gosling going around the outside. Here's your top 5, just unchanged since the start of the race.
And that little puff of smoke out of Mario Gosling's car is puffing right into the windshield of Jason Sarvis now, who was the first stop-and-go penalty victim, if you want to call it that. And Shane Wallace, who was the victim of Jason Sarvis's rough driving, has now underscored a penalty of his own and headed to the back. But he's got a very good race car. We've seen that. He should be able to work his way to the front as we're just past a third of the way into this race. Not quite in striking distance of halfway just yet.
And still just a little bit shy of that pit stop window. We'll see who elects to come to pit road, who elects to stay out should we get a caution anytime in the near future.
Well, chances are we will get a caution because we've seen a few of them here tonight. So I think
I was baiting you there, Brian.
We've set the tone for that. There's Jason Sarvis just behind Mario Gosling. Then there's Michael Rich in the 28 Jackaroo car and the 9 of Chad Mullis. Boy, that would just really have me taking a short, deep breath every time I saw that puff of smoke coming out of Mario's car until I got used to it.
And starting to see what looks like a little bit of it coming out of the service car. Don't know if he locked up the left front brake or exactly what the situation was. Right behind them, let's give a call to Chad Mullis, the number 9 car. Chad Mullis, virtually unsponsored, just the family business, keeping his operation alive and looking for some sponsorship. This is also what he would consider his home track, and he's got a good run going as well.
Again, the graphic there on Jason Starvis, who started second and is currently running in 9th position, is a little bit misleading because he went all the way to the back of the field. He has come up to 9th place. He did so along with Shane Wallace, and then Wallace, involved in that latest incident, is gone to the back for rough driving here. There, Mario Gosselin in the number 10 car. Super Mario has been kind of so-so Mario again this year. As Stephen Christian is on a mission now, goes around Mike Laughlin Jr., the lap car. Our next race date, this is one you definitely want to check out. It's going to be at Holland, and you need to go to our website, USARProCup.com, for some very special ticket information. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And let's make sure that people know it's Holland, New York.
Yes.
You're right.
And it's not the country of. Because as far as we know, Hooters Pro Cup racing has not yet made it to Europe.
Not yet. We go to Canada, but not to Holland yet. But Holland, New York, a beautiful racetrack up there. And do check out the website. Some specials being offered there if you look at the USARProCup.com website. Up front, Rogers continuing just to mow the field down. There's Todd Hirschfeld. Haven't said a lot about the Nextel Communication Ford. Teammate with Andrew Medlin here in 2003. They've had a kind of a lackluster year, but it's a learning year. And a rookie competitor coming out. He's got some good equipment and an excellent crew chief and spotter, Curtis Davis, calling the shots for him, but still going through that learning curve. Don Satterfield trying to hang tough. He's running pretty strong here tonight with Steve Christian battling on the inside.
Veteran driver Don Satterfield on the outside. Christian, one of the young guns in the Hooters Pro Cup Series, inside door-to-door racing, and that's what we love to see. We also heard Clay Rogers talk about 2 and even 3 wide. Yes, we've seen a lot of that here this evening. Bobby Gill down on pit road and under green. That means there's something desperately wrong. Lucky for us, Doug Rice is right there in the area of Bobby Gill's pit.
Bobby Gill coming to the pits early on here tonight. The crew over the wall. Dews, his crew chief, is also his jackman, and they're going to the back of the car here. This does not look like a routine tire change. The way the crew is scrambling around might have rear end problems on the number 5, Bobby Gill, one of the prohibitive favorites at any racetrack tonight, and the defending race champion here at Concord. Picked up a 1-race sponsorship of Crown Point Mortgage, but looks like you may have to park it early here tonight, as this appears to be an extended stay on pit road for Bobby Gill.
Oh, out on the racetrack, Doug, we got another caution that's going to come out. That is going to help Bobby Gill's crew just a little bit. We're looking at the 25 of rookie David Stover, the Shaw Industries Monte Carlo, facing the wrong way on the racetrack. Some very obvious right side damage. And we are under caution again. Now are we in the pit stop window would be a question. And we know that guy. That is Butch Miller, who is currently the points leader in the ASA series, featured here on Speed, and a former announcing colleague of mine. Hey, Butch. And Andrew Medlin's, Chad Mullis's crew on work there. We saw Bobby Gill's guys put the car back down. They're pushing it out onto the racetrack. The way they were yanking on the wheels there, they were looking for a problem with the differential itself.
Behind the wall.
Yeah, now he goes behind the wall. And that means whatever they may have found is serious, and they're going to have to do some more looking.
This will be the second time in 2003 Bobby Gill's gone behind the wall or had a problem with the rear end back at Five Flag Speedway, Pensacola, Florida. Just as he took the lead going into turn 1 early in that event, the yoke on the snout of the rear end broke and put him out of the race.
Well, we saw them yanking on the left rear wheel there. Whatever they may have been looking for in the differential itself might not be the problem. We'll keep track of it for you.
Morning.
Those are all good, but after cheating on me, he deserves something way more painful.
Tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
freshness. Naturally fresh salad dressings, salsas, and dips.
Well, we're under caution here at Concord Motorsport Park, and the Naturally Fresh Foods 250 continues kind of stop and go, kind of a herky-jerky motion here, as we've had a lot of cautions tonight. But one thing that has remained the same is Clay Rogers leading Marty Lindley for the most part. Now it is Stacy Puryear has moved up into third because Bobby Gill is behind the wall.
You know, the top six have really remained unchanged. Actually, the top seven, you go back to Toby Porter. Now that Bobby Gill's gone behind the wall, that's allowed Benny Gordon to step up and move his way into the top five. Everybody's been kind of quiet, feeling things out here, looking to get racy, I would presume, at the last section of this race. Just trying to put some laps up on the scoreboard, although Shane Huffman already starting to try to look at the outside line on Puryear the last time by. Just cannot get over the way that Clay Rogers is able to get a restart jump on everybody and put some pretty good distance between them.
Shane Huffman now in the 84 car has definitely come forward into the picture. We're used to seeing him up there. He started in 7th position, which was a pretty good effort considering what they went through here tonight with that Genio Turkey Store car. Oh, we got another caution on the racetrack, and this time it is Michael Struthers slowing. We saw him earlier go out of the race, come back in, and now it appears as though whatever problem he was having with the car may have just turned terminal.
Brian, that didn't look good at all. It looked like smoke and maybe some fluid coming out of the exhaust pipe on the left-hand side of that race car. So it's going to be a short night for Michael Struthers.
As he takes his number 3 car behind the wall, let's go to Doug Rice.
Bobby Gill's car behind the pit wall here at Concord, a sight that you don't see very often, and apparently the left truck arm broke on this car, so they've had to bring in a replacement, and this has taken quite a while because a lot of pieces have to come off before they can refit the truck arm, and so the crew's working away here, but it's losing a lot of time here on the pit lane, and obviously any chance that Bobby Gill has as repeating the champions of this race has disappeared here tonight.
So a problem externally in the differential area of the race car once again has reared its head for the crew on the number 5 car. We'll be back.
People think that the Australian outback is full of young, wild ranch hands called jackaroos. Fact is, jackaroos are quite civilized. Until they grab hold of the big, bold taste of their favorite jackaroo barbie sauce. Then things can get a bit out of hand. Every jackaroo knows, if you don't have jackaroo barbie sauce, you ain't got jack.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extends the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
The Naturally Fresh Foods 250 here at Concord Motorsport Park in Concord, North Carolina. Beautiful early summer, late spring, however you want to characterize it, evening. And Clay Rogers continues to circulate at the front of the field. Once again, he will take them to the green flag. And we point out that in his previous 2 visits here, he has finished 1st and 2nd. But we also point out that we have not had a repeat winner during the 2003 season, either Northern or Southern Division in Hooters Pro Cup, nor have we had a repeat winner here at Concord Motorsport Park. So if anyone's going to get it done, Clay Rogers looking like he just might.
And the way he's demonstrated tonight, his stranglehold on that lead, I'm not so sure that anybody else is going to have anything for him. That's a tough job right there. Look at the jump he gets once again. The sun has gone down. The track is cooled. The track is starting to change a little bit, and he's still got a very strong race car. But the other factor to put into this mix is he's got to come to pit road. Every car has got to come to pit road and change a minimum of 2 tires per the USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series rulebook. So there are a few things that could change the complexion of this race as we close in. 100 laps are complete. There's your Goodyear full field rundown.
Well, Clay Rogers also spoke about, since you mentioned the track is cooling down, he said that we tried to free the car up quite a bit so that when the track changed, it would come back to us. Now, I'll ask you to elaborate a little bit on what he's talking about there.
Well, what he did, he tried to get the car loosened up a little bit because the track's going to tighten up as the sun goes down and the track gets cooler. The car is going to want to push a little more going into the corner. If you got the car perfect during sunlight conditions, then once the sun went down, the car wouldn't want to turn when you went off into the corner, so he loosened it up. But what I'm surprised with is during the daylight time, that car didn't look like it had any type of handling problem at all. And as the sun went down and the temperatures changed and the track changed, I would have thought there would have been some changes there. Bobby Gill back on the racetrack after a time behind the wall. Work on that truck arm to replace or repair that truck arm on the left-hand side. A little bit of sparks coming off the bottom of that race car, so adjustments may be in order there.
Gene, we may just have to wait for the tire pressure to come up a little bit. Then we'll watch and see if those sparks go away. We got a battle for position here right now between the 16 of Toby Porter and the 22 of Jason Sarvis, who continues marching towards the front. He's getting pretty close now.
You know, we've watched Rogers up front dominating this thing, but Sarvis has had to come all the way from the back of the pack after that spin or a stop-and-go penalty for the spin with Wallace on lap number 4. So Sarvis has got a strong race car. I'm going to keep my eye on that race car. That might be the car to challenge for a win here tonight. And if he could go to victory lane, that would be face number 8 that we've seen in the winner's circle.
Aha! Sparks have gone away as Bobby Gill runs around the noseless number 61 of J.P. Morgan there. So the tire pressures indeed have come up. Sometimes I get a little of this stuff right. But you know what? Dews and the guys did a great job getting back out. Lost a little over 20 laps, but you know, to make such a major mechanical repair and just get back out of the race is a credit to the crew.
Well, points are important here in 2003. Remember, 13 races for the Southern Division, and you've got to be in the top 30, and those 30 positions are seeded when they're matched up to the top 30 with the Northern Division to go to those 5 championship races. So points are very critical here. Clay Rogers now starting to look in that rearview mirror and see that Marty Lindley's got a pretty strong race car right now. And here's a little bit of a battle. Steve Christian and Mario Goslin going at it.
Side by side for 14th position. Christian has had his woes here tonight, and Goslin has been running a very steady race, although puff and smoke every now and then. And you were correct about Jason Sarvis. A little bit of evidence of smoke puffing out of his car has now become very definitely the same thing. And much like Goslin's car, it's just when he gets on the gas, apparently, you know, off throttle, he's pulling a little oil up past the rings, getting into the top end, and that's my analysis on that. Clay Rogers slowing down a little bit. It looks like, and certainly Marty Lindley's gotten a lot closer to him as we are well over 100 laps, but short of halfway.
You can see how the cars get really slung out to that outside wall. The banking starts to go away before you even exit turn number 3, and that just moves the line right out to the outside wall, tightens up the track, and makes it very narrow coming down this front straightaway. Lindley is there. He's a car length behind Rogers. And you can see Bobby Gill just ahead. Another caution. We've got a caution on the speedway, and it is the 25. David Stover going around. Looks like he made some contact with the inside wall, but he does get that Shaw Industries Chevrolet back underway.
Now I'm going to say we're very definitely in the pit window here, as many of the leaders are probably going to take this opportunity rather than gamble on another one happening. Stover working back out onto the racetrack. The 68 of Todd Hirschfeld, their next communications, number 68. We haven't seen a lot of him. He started at 31st on the final row of the race, and he's working his way forward. Of course, teammate car to the number 8 of Andrew Medlin on that Premier Motorsports squad. And the leaders are indeed coming down pit road. Clay Rogers ducks down, and Lindley goes with him, as does the 84 of Shane Huffman. So all the leaders are on pit road. We're going to watch. Doug Rice is going to call the action.
Clay Rogers, the pole sitter, in for a crucial mid-race pit stop here. The crew goes to the right-hand side of the car first. Very methodical. They know Clay has got a car that can definitely win here tonight, and they want to give him every chance to do that with a good, clean pit stop. Clay currently running first, and he's pretty much been comfortable out front tonight after winning the pole. Crew swings around to the left-hand side. working on getting the left set tires on now as the jack's up in the air. Give Clay a quick drink of water. And now quickly coming off pit road in front of him, Shane Huffman, Martin Esmond, and Clay Rogers gets away, but not before Shane Huffman beats him out of the pits.
A little bit of a traffic jam. Look at the 15 almost getting into the 22 of Sarvis. Looked like the 15 of Lindley jammed in on pit road. Sarvis directly ahead of him. They had a little bit of a tussle getting off pit road.
USAR official Dean Templeton right in the middle of all of that. His nickname is Sasquatch, and watch the little ballet that he does. Here's Lindley's guys trying to get him off pit road while Jason Sarvis's crew is still working. They back up, they go again, and here's Sasquatch doing a little pirouette. We'll give him a tutu to go along with his fire suit next time. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Hooters Air flies non-stop jet service between Newark and Myrtle Beach. Make reservations online at HootersAir.com or call toll-free at 888-FLY-HOOT. Fun, sun, and golf. Myrtle Beach has something for everyone. Hooters Air presents great golf packages. With some of the nation's finest golf courses, Myrtle Beach is the perfect vacation choice for the avid golfer year-round. For more information, call 888-FLY-HOOT or log on to HootersAir.com. Hooters Air. Easy to buy. Fun to fly.
There's only two ugly people in the world, and your mama's both of them.
You know, your mama's so fat, she stepped on the dollar and made change.
I heard your mama's so ugly, she robbed the bank with no gun, just stuck her head over the counter and say, put the money in the bag.
Stick 'em up. Stick 'em up.
Timing was a little off.
Timing was a little off. Timing was way off.
You're not funny.
Tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
Well, the leaders have pitted here in the Naturally Fresh Foods 250 presented by Jenny O Turkey Store. Southern Division Racing in the USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series continues on a beautiful early summer evening here. The number 4 of Shane Wallace is on the tail end of the lead lap. Your leader is the number 11 of Stacy Puryear in his sponsor-needed Chevy Monte Carlo there, and that's a sight you won't see very often. Bobby Gill lining up on the bottom of the racetrack, not on the lead lap. Hooters Pro Cup race.
Michael Rich in the Dodge and Chad Mullis in his Ford, second and third on this restart, all electing to stay out on the racetrack and wait for another opportunity to go to pit road. 121 up on the board, and we've got the Lucas Oil Halfway Leader Award coming up in just, whoa,
we got another caution though before that.
Buggy
that
Pletcher
is going to be our
in
10th caution of the night. Buggy Pletcher in the 51 certainly drawn the attention of our camera guys as he was wiggle wobbling around, and he's trying to get something going. He's got some oil on the track out there, apparently, is what we're hearing from the radio chatter. And Joe Gaeta just in front of him. The next 5 events, north-south, north-south, north-south. Starting with Holland International, we mentioned that. We go to USA International for the Southern Division back at Lakeland. Winchester up north, Myrtle Beach down south, and finally Salem Speedway in the great state of Indiana up north again. So Shane Wallace, who started 4th, is running 14th. Got his lap back there because quick cautions while he was in front of the leader have resulted in him being able to go around and get on the tail end of the field.
Gives him an opportunity to make up that half mile, and looks like he may be electing to come to pit road and get some service on that race car.
So we'll let them stay lined up here and do it all over again. Another restart when we come back.
We'll be back with more Hooters Pro Cup racing on Speed.
Get on up and get on down to Hooters, the place to be for chicken wings. Come grab a beer, the kids on here, and the girl next door. Good friends and more. If you can't stop by, get our wings to fly. Hooters makes you happy. Right down the street, it's your neighborhood retreat. So get on up and get on down to Hooters.
Doesn't Miller Lite taste great?
Blessed filling!
Wait. What about this? Doesn't Miller Lite taste great? Great taste! Great taste!
Blessed filling!
Great taste!
Blessed filling! Blessed filling!
What do you think about that? That's art.
Tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
I've got an idea.
halfway managed to pass kind of with a whimper instead of a bang here at Concord Motorsport Park. Stacy Puryear, who was the leader on the restart, was still the leader when we went to caution. And he is the halfway leader, picking up the $1,000 in Lucas Oil product here. He only led 7 laps. There has been one lead change. That was when Clay Rogers went to pit road and Puryear inherited it.
Now we'll see what type of setup they've got on that car after making a 4-tire stop on pit road for Clay Rogers. Dominant in the first half. See if he's got anything here in the second half. Stacy Puryear in the 11 car, the 28 of Michael Rich, and Chad Mullis in the 9 car, electing to stay on pit road or stay on the racetrack, not come to pit road. And Scott Sutherland also staying on the racetrack. He lines up 4th on the restart.
So Michael Rich running 2nd, Chad Mullis in the 9 car 3rd, and our colleague Scott Sutherland running in 4th position right now after a cycle of pit stops. Bobby Gill not able to get his lap. Well, in this case, it would be a drop in the bucket. 22 laps, I believe, he lost while he was behind the wall. Stacy Puryear, you said he had probably the fastest car on the racetrack in the early part of this race. And now the question becomes, is his car still fast against cars with much fresher tires and a full fuel load?
Well, Stacy knows he's got to get with it and get with it quick here. He's got cars with good rubber on them. They've gone to pit road and gotten fresh tires. He doesn't have that luxury underneath him right yet. There is Shane Huffman, the first of those cars to make a pit stop, getting around Scott Sutherland. He'll pick up 4th position. So only 3 cars still out front that haven't been to pit road.
Shane Huffman in the 84 fighting for position. Doug Rice is in the 84 pits. Let's go downstairs right now.
Patrick Rogers, your guy Shane out there, is giving his car a great ride, especially considering you only had 7 laps on it in practice.
Yeah, that's the truth. The Genio Turkey Store boys, they worked their tails off today, got this backup car ready. Running pretty good right now. 29 cars will be awful tough. A lot of tough guys out there. See what happens.
It's a big race for you. You come in here as the points leader. You have to go to a backup car. A good finish tonight says a lot about this team if you can hold on.
Oh, yeah. All season, every week, every night there at the shop, and they bring us good equipment every week. We got a shot every time we show up. That says a lot about their commitment.
Well, I would say that Patrick Rogers with what I call a remarkable grasp of the obvious, and that is that the 29 car is going to be tough. Here he comes again. After stopping, he's heading for the front big time.
See Benny Gordon and Steve Christian working their way around Scott Sutherland. But Puryear in the 11 car continuing to set the pace right now. And Michael Rich, a good run for the Dodge. The only Dodge product running in the Southern Division here so far in 2003. The car is looking very, very strong here in the middle stages of this race.
Clay Rogers getting around Mario Gosselin for 5th position. Yes, he is definitely heading for the front now as he comes up behind the 9, Chad Mullis. And there's nothing Mario Gosselin can do but watch. Take a look as we type out www.usarprocup.com. You should do the same for any and all information about Pro Cup racing here in the Hooters Series 2003, including, as we mentioned, some very special ticket information about our next race at Holland International Speedway up north. Clay Rogers putting the move on Chad Mullis, who could do nothing but watch either as he just skated on by.
Rogers got a little bit of time to try to catch up to that 3rd place car. You see the 84 Shane Huffman directly ahead. That's about a 4-car length separation there, but just as I say that, it looks like Rogers is starting to get with it and starting to close that gap pretty quick.
Well, it's not going to take him any time at all the way he's going. He's at least a 1/10, if not 2/10 of a second quicker per lap than anybody on the racetrack right now. Just using a quick check of the stopwatch here.
Stacy Puryear putting on a pretty good show there coming down the front stretch.
Yep, Puryear, your leader. Bobby Gill right behind him now, although Gill is many laps down, as we mentioned, 22 perhaps. And inside, Marty Lindley in the 15 car also putting Mario Gosselin back another spot.
Should be the battle for 6th position. Lindley, and it is 6th position is on the racetrack right there. Lindley still on the inside. Has got the preferred line, but Gosselin really tough on the outside line, able to hang tough when they get back to start finish.
We're going to make that 28 laps down for Bobby Gill now as we make a quick check of official scoring. Lindley looking good on the inside. Gosselin again, you know, a pretty good race car, but not a very good car, and certainly not in the class of Clay Rogers and now Marty Lindley, both of whom have gone right by. Here comes Jason Sarvis up behind as well. They're puffing in tandem there now, little puffs of oil smoke.
Gosselin's car does not look like it's able to hang on to the bottom of the racetrack as Sarvis takes a dive to the inside.
Stacy Puryear is leading the race right now, but let's show you how things developed here with our Lucas Oil race recap. This is going to be fairly simple because at the green flag, Clay Rogers took the lead from the pole and led for 115 laps. That's the short version. But on lap number 4, we had an incident between Jason Sarvis and Shane Wallace. Sarvis penalized for rough driving, and both of them went to the back. Wallace for spinning, Sarvis for causing it, perhaps. So he had to wait down on pit road before rejoining the race. They both worked their way forward again pretty easily. In fact, Sarvis began to reappear into the action along with Wallace about the time that the 60 car of Kevin Love went around and collected J.P. Morgan in the process. That was one of many cautions we had here. It wasn't very long before Shane Wallace was pushing and shoving on Stephen Christian, and he got sent to the back of the field for a stop-and-go penalty. And there's Shane Wallace serving his little bit of penance there. On lap number 85, Bobby Gill took a hard left turn, went behind the wall, turned out to be a trailing or truck arm and not the differential itself, as Dews and the boys were able to analyze the problem, get it fixed, and get Gill back out onto the racetrack. The lead change of the race, the only one so far, happened when Clay Rogers came down pit road and Stacy Puryear did not. Puryear is your leader. That's our Lucas Oil race recap. You're all caught up on the action now. Bobby Gill has gotten a lap back, but it's behind leader Stacy Puryear that all the action is happening as Clay Rogers is starting to knock on the back door of Shane Huffman's Genio Turkey Store. Number 84, what's going on? Shane a little tight coming off the corner, and now he's loose.
Something on the racetrack, Brian.
Yep, Rogers is going to take that spot as Shane Huffman looked like Danny the Dude or Steve Kinzer on a dirt track Saturday night, but we're racing on pavement at Concord.
Next to your car's engine, your transmission is the second most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops most seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
I really appreciate you taking care of Coco.
No problem, Mrs. Jacobson.
And remember, if he's good, let him play.
And what if he's bad?
Well, Curtis, I think we both know what bad boys get.
What's that? Oh.
Oh, come on. Can we go one night without a joke about my mother?
Oh, I can't help it. No, she's too hot.
Tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
Concord Motorsport Park is really heating up now as Stacy Puryear is coming under attack from previous leader Clay Rogers. Puryear led after Rogers pitted. He's already gone by the 84 of Shane Huffman, and now it looks like he's going to make short work of Stacy Puryear down on the inside. Did not lead that lap, I don't believe anyway, although it was close, and now he edges out in front.
Now Puryear in the 11 car starting to feel the effects of leaving those tires on for as long as he has. Fresher rubber on the 29 cars really let Clay Rogers slice his way back to the front. Shane Huffman's 84 car still back there in third, and a little bit of distance between that first and third place car as Rogers looked to the inside of Laughlin over in turn 3, putting Laughlin a second lap down here tonight.
I mean, Clay Rogers is just on a different racetrack, down on the line that he's driving that's 5 miles an hour faster than everybody else. As we look at our Goodyear full field rundown, reflecting the new lead change, Rogers is leading Marty Lindley by quite a bit on the racetrack right now. Jason Sarvis is up to 6th, and Andrew Medlin rounds out the top 10. Stephen Christian running 11th, Martin Nesbitt 12th. Shane Wallace up to 13th already. Buggy Pletcher in 16th is a lap down, as are quite a few other cars. See Bobby Gill listed in 24th position now, down almost 40 laps in this race, but still out there on the racetrack. And the first man out, Daniel Johnson in the 56 car, rookie of the year a couple of seasons ago, was an early retiree.
Pretty good log jam right here. Second place Purrier with pressure from Huffman, who's also being pressured by Lindley. Add Michael Rich to the mix and Jason Sarvis, and you've got 5 cars battling their way back to the front.
Purrier, after staying out on the racetrack to inherit the lead, is showing signs of worn out tires, and he'll need to come in and pit. So his long pit stop strategy worked for a while. He was able to lead halfway and pick up the Lucas Oil money for that. Shane Huffman, of course, pitted along with many of the other leaders. He's heading for the front, as is Marty Lindley, but the front is Clay Rogers, and Rogers is way out in front of these guys. Michael Rich in the Jackaroo 28 also heading that direction.
Remember, those are the 2 cars that did not come to pit road, along with Chad Mullis and Scott Sutherland back at that break just prior to the halfway point. They stayed out. Purrier got the halfway money from Lucas Oil. Now he's paying the price and looking for an opportunity to get to pit road, hoping he won't have to come to pit road under green.
Michael Rich in the Jackaroo Sauces 28 car holding on a little bit better on old tires, but now Jason Sarvis looks like he's going to take a spot away from Michael Rich. A little bit of a tougher time doing it than Clay Rogers did, however. Rogers just zipped through the field like a little balloon with air coming out of it. Loves this racetrack. Clay Rogers in his last 3 appearances has been first and second and has led most of this race. That's a pretty good record.
That is domination, absolute domination here tonight by Rogers, but a lot of good action throughout the field. A lot of close, tight racing. We've seen a couple of times that cars have gotten together, a little bit of an overzealous situation maybe behind the wheel and causing drivers to get stop and go penalties on pit road for rough driving, but nonetheless, a lot of good action. Scott Sutherland going a lap down now as the second and third and fourth place cars get by him.
Sutherland in the number 27 car spent most of his evening up on a very high line of the racetrack. Leader Clay Rogers said in his pole sitter interview that he liked Concord. We talked to him a little bit more about this track.
This is one of those racetracks where probably the most any short track in this area that experience really pays off. When the big dogs come in here and race, they run behind the local guys. So it's really exciting. My dad's business is near here. Our race shop's not far from here. Our little brother races here on a weekly basis and runs real well, and just really looking forward to the race tonight.
Well, looking forward has translated into doing well, and experience is paying off for Clay Rogers so far here tonight. Side by side, the Lucas Oil 2 of Steve Christian and the 8 of Andrew Medlin. Both inside on Stacy Purrier, former leader of this race, who is definitely backing up right now on old tires.
Martin Nesbitt, the 92 car, brake problem on that car. Brand new Ford they debuted for this weekend. Had some pretty good times during practice earlier today, but early pit stop, and it was diagnosed finally as a brake problem. So Martin Nesbitt trying to complete the race and put this one in the books. Get ready for USA International Speedway in 3 weeks.
The cosmetically challenged Lucas Oil number 2 going past the aerodynamically compromised number 25 of David Stover. He flat-sided the right of that car in an earlier incident. Sarvis inside on Shane Huffman. Good side-by-side racing for position all over the track. Our Naturally Fresh Field summary, 170 laps into this race. Mario Gosling still hanging around in 6th position, pretty much where he's been all evening. Started 14th, moved towards the front, and kind of stuck there. Although he has, oh, we got a problem on the other side of the racetrack.
Oh.
And it is the 92 of Martin Nesbitt. You mentioned a brake problem. But right under the flag stand, he's maneuvering.
He had managed to stay on the lead lap. You can see the right rear tire down on the Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina Ford, and he goes a lap down to your leader, Clay Rogers. And this is actually a break because for the rest of the field, because Clay Rogers had just checked out. We had talked about looking forward. You were having to look very far forward to find Clay Rogers. But here's another shot. As we take a look at it, the right rear tire went down on Nesbitt's car, and around he went. Fortunately, did not collect the inside retaining wall. It's a pretty narrow bowling alley here.
Yeah, Michael Rich takes the opportunity to go down and make a late pit stop now. Again, he one of the cars that stayed out. Stacy Purrier is going to come in and pit for tires as well here. And let's go downstairs to Doug Rice for the second installment of Pit Row Frenzy.
Stacy Purrier, who earlier tonight stayed out to lead at halfway, was really hoping for this caution flag. He was running dangerously low on fuel, as well as were several other cars in the back of the pack. So Purrier's number 11 is now able to come in under the caution. They're going to make a quick adjustment on the car, top it off, give him fresh tires. And for Purrier, he was one driver glad to see this yellow flag late in the action tonight here at Concord.
Danson Dean Templeton presiding over the pit stop action there again. This time he had a little bit calmer run in the spotlight as Stacy Purrier's guys are taking a while to get the left side tires on. See the flagman signaling to the field that things are going to get underway here very shortly. And here are your leaders.
Mom, I'm home! Be right there. No cookies, please. No candy either. The cake's for dessert. No double dipping.
Try Kids Ranch, an outrageous orange and purple pizzazz. New from Naturally Fresh. Hooters Air flies non-stop jet service between Newark and Myrtle Beach. Make reservations online at HootersAir.com or call toll-free at 888-FLY-HOOT. Hooters Air, no games, no gimmicks. One-way pricing, no advance purchase, no Saturday night stay required. Best of all seats, one price, all the time. Call 888-FLY-HOOT or log on to HootersAir.com. Hooters Air puts the fun back into flying.
Welcome back to Concord Motorsport Park and the Hooters Pro Cup Series Southern Division. This is the Naturally Fresh Foods 250 getting underway again with a very familiar sight. Clay Rogers leading Marty Lindley, while down on the inside, the 51 of David Buggy Pletcher is the first car not on the lead lap here tonight at this point.
Once again, as we've seen all night long, Rogers able to get a quick jump on the restart. A lot of slipping and sliding off of turn 3, trying to work by that lap traffic. Benny Gordon directly ahead of Steve Christian as we look through the front windshield of the Lucas Oil Chevrolet.
And Benny Gordon having another good run, as we mentioned, so impressed with his performance at Ace Speedway. Runner-up spot after that last lap melee. And he's running well in reach of a top 5 finish here, which is probably what he would have had at Ace had what happened not happened, and by that we mean the whole incident between Bobby Gill and Jason Sarvis. And Sarvis on the inside now with Shane Huffman.
Battle for third right there, and we see that Lindley nor Rogers in the picture very much off the distance, about 10 car lengths ahead. Sarvis is going to get third. Huffman drops back to 4th. Goslin holding on to position number 5, but what I'm concerned with here is Danny O'Quinn. Black flag, didn't get the right line on the restart.
All right, he's going to get a stop-and-go penalty for not lining up in the right position on the restart there, so they're going to bring him in. What advantage he may have gained is going to be negated pretty quickly. Didn't exactly turn into the rematch we thought might happen here between Bobby Gill, Jason Sarvis, Marty Lindley. They've been kind of separated somewhat through the course of the evening. Now, of course, Gill running about 38 laps down at this point. It has really not going to be has not been a factor in the race thus far. It's been all Clay Rogers, although Marty Lindley has made plenty of his presence known here tonight, and he's currently running in second position again. There's
pretty
Jason
good distance.
Sarvis.
Yeah, pretty good distance between those top 3. Brian, one of the other things I think we ought to mention and think about is we've got Stacy Purrier and Michael Rich, who've been on pit road with tires now on their race car that are 60 laps fresher, so they may have something for these leaders as the closing laps start to come upon us.
Well, as a counterpoint to that, Gene, I might mention or demonstrate that, the tires didn't seem to go off dramatically for those guys that stayed out for a long time until well after 130, 140 laps or so, they began to be noticeably bad. So maybe 60 lap fresher tires is not really a big deal, and there aren't enough laps to go till the end where those really fresh tires are going to be, certainly they're going to make up track position, I would say, because their cars were working well too.
Well, in addition, they've also got to go through some of the lap traffic, so they've got to work, track position is going to be an issue, but we'll have to see just what Rogers has left here. He's been dominant all night long, 154 laps out in the front position so far this evening. Clay Rogers just getting it done here tonight. He's got an agenda here tonight, and that's to go to victory lane. So it would seem there's Michael Rich, a trip to pit road late in the going, gives him 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on that Jackaroo Dodge.
All but 32 laps Clay Rogers has led. There's only been 1 lap really that counted so far, and that was the one at halfway, collected by Stacy Puryear. There's 1 more lap that counts, and that's the one at the end.
Big check
Naturally
for that
Fresh
one.
Foods 250. That's the one he's looking for right now. He'll give Stacy Puryear that halfway prize if he can take the big one at the finish. Coming
Danny
around
O'Quinn
the 0-2.
directly ahead.
Yep, Danny O'Quinn, our leading rookie contender in the Southern Division this season.
7th in points coming into tonight's race. Great run. I don't know what it is about that 7th position and rookie contenders we saw last year. Andrew Medlin had, not Andrew Medlin, Billy Mowry had 7th position there in points for the longest time here in the Southern Division. But this year it is Danny O'Quinn Jr. doing a fine job after moving up from the late model stock ranks. Back on board Toby Porter, and a late gear change just prior to qualifying seems to have really brought this car around. They weren't happy with the race car prior to qualifying this afternoon. Made a change just on the fly while in line to go through pre-qualifying tech inspection. Looks like that did the trick.
He's up behind the 8 of Andrew Medlin, the Quality Brake Center Ford Taurus. You're on board Toby Porter and his Naturally Fresh Foods number 16.
Medlin's car does not want to get into the corner very well, wants to push up a little bit, and that leaves the opening on the bottom for Porter, although Porter now going to try the outside, sweep back to the bottom side out of 3. As we swing back and take a look at our leader, Clay Rogers, 190 laps up on the board, as we take a look at our Naturally Fresh field summary.
Smoke and Mario Gosselin up to 5th position right now. We're watching the 15 of Marty Lindley. That's the Hooters Delta Faucets craft-made Ford Taurus that went to victory lane at Speedway. And Jason Sarvis, who was involved in that last lap melee. They are so far apart on the racetrack, we can't really call it much of an issue tonight.
Shane Huffman has gotten by Don Satterfield, who this evening is carrying on the rear deck lid, the rear panel of that race car, advertising for the Shrine Bowl of the Carolinas. So trying to help out the Shriners here this weekend is the number 1 car of Don Satterfield.
And there's Smokin' Mario going inside on Dandy Don Satterfield. Again, running in 5th position. Satterfield just went a lap down. He stayed on the lead lap there for quite a while here this evening.
No, he is now 2 laps down, Brian. I'm sorry.
Another lap down.
Got a report that the engine had a miss in it, about lap 130 or 140 or so is the report I got. The engine starting to pick up a miss.
And Benny Gordon in that 44 car, again, we saw him running in just about this position in the closing laps at Speedway. And with all that went on, he ended up in 2nd place. As we go back and take a look at a lot of the race cars in the field, now that they've spread out a little bit, we can catch our breath and do just that. There's Porter, who's gotten around the 8. So no more on board look at the back of Andrew Medlin's car. And Stacy Puryear with the fresh tires. Joe Gaeta. Joe Gaeta down, nosed into the inside wall. He's going to back it up into traffic here, and broadside on the racetrack is not a good place to be.
Not at all. Put a little damage to the nose of that race car, but really nothing compared to having the handling problems they've had. They've been on pit road nearly every opportunity throughout the night trying to work on that sway bar handling problem. Looks like it got maybe a little bit of help from behind and nosing it into the concrete.
Shane Wallace again. Boy, he's been involved in more than a little contact this evening. Joe Gaeta, who went to victory lane at USA International in the season opener, has got some damage.
People think that the Australian outback is full of young, wild ranch hands called jackaroos. Fact is, jackaroos are quite civilized. Until they grab hold of the big, bold taste of their favorite jackaroo barbie sauce. Then things can get a bit out of hand. Every jackaroo knows, if you don't have jackaroo barbie sauce, you ain't got jack.
Morning.
Those are all good, but after cheating on me, he deserves something way more painful.
Tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
Shane Wallace, another stop-and-go penalty, and in his defense, Shane Wallace, who grew up racing here at Concord Motorsport Park, came looking to put on a good show, qualified in 4th position, got spun on four laps into the race, and he's just had the bit between his teeth all night long and just maybe a little bit over-aggressive, but you know what? I'm not going to fault him for that too much. Now his crew chief, Darren Shaw, there, talking it over with Dancing Dean. That's Sasquatch. That's his nickname. We saw him pirouetting gracefully on pit road there a while ago. Now he's having to do a little tap dance with a crew chief.
Well, I think Darren's doing more of the dancing right now. Been a tough night, a lot of action, and narrow racetrack is going to bring you a lot of these cautions and some of these incidents that we've seen. But on the restart, Clay Rogers once again trying to sneak away from the field. 2:03 now showing on the scoreboard.
And bye-bye Clay Rogers once again. Our Goodyear full field rundown is going to show you where everybody's running. Lindley and Sarvis in 2nd and 3rd position. Eddie Gordon in 6th. Andrew Medlin rounding out the top 10. Their first car not on the lead lap now is Scott Sutherland in the 27. And Shane Wallace, while still on the lead lap, is the last car to be along with the number 29. This most recent stop-and-go penalty. Let's go downstairs now, as Doug Rice has caught up with Darren Shaw, who was talking with Dean Templeton a moment ago about this latest stop-and-go penalty. Dougie.
Well, Darren, this is getting to be pretty familiar. You guys get called for another stop-and-go. What this time?
We just, it just ain't our night. Nothing's going my way, nothing's going his way. When this one's over, we'll call this Friday the 13th in our book. We just want to get out here and go home, and we're all frustrated. Shane keeps trying to come back to the front. You know, we got punted there on the first 8 laps, got us backwards. Then we got into somebody else trying to get back to the field. It's been downhill since lap 8. We just keep going farther down, but we'll be back in Lakeland. We'll get we're a good car. We'll get back together.
All right, it's a fair bet, guys, that Darren Shaw wants to get out of Concord tonight.
Well, Darren Shaw said, we're going to call this Friday the 13th. You know, I mean, sometimes the stars and the moon just line up wrong and things go bad. And in this case, it was from lap 4 for the number 4, Joe Gaeta, behind the wall right now and out of the race.
Saw Todd Hirschfeld walk over and check things out. He is also behind the wall in that 68 machine, so some of the cars starting to fall away as we get to the closing stages of tonight's race. Pretty good battle. You see Michael Rich, those fresh tires, now has gotten around. Toby Porter was putting the pressure on the Lucas Oil Chevrolet and Steve Christian.
Hirschfeld and Gaeta, should they remain, should things stay as they are, will be credited with 23rd and 24th place. There are just that many more cars, 8 to be exact, that have gone out earlier. So it's not a bad, you know, if you go out late, at least you're going to collect more points than if you go out very early in the race, as Daniel Johnson, Jimmy McLean. Oh, look at this.
Turn 3, rather.
Looking down at my list of drivers who are out of the race already and looking up, and there's smoke pouring up off the wheels of Andrew Medlin's Quality Brake Center number 8 car. He was running in the top 10. In fact, we just saw him racing for position a moment ago. Kept it off the wall for the most part, it appears, and gets going again.
Not an easy job when you spin, and that is the 3rd turn. And this is a tri-oval racetrack, 3 corners. You've got turn 1, where we're at right here, and I think we're going to see a replay. Here we go. Not sure. Couldn't see if he got any help there from what looks to be Stacy Perrier, but we'll be back for more action and more racing here at Concord Motorsports Park. Y'all come on back.
Hooters Air flies non-stop jet service between Newark and Myrtle Beach. Make reservations online at HootersAir.com or call toll-free at 888-FLY-HOOT. Fun, sun, and golf. Myrtle Beach has something for everyone. Hooters Air presents great golf packages. With some of the nation's finest golf courses, Myrtle Beach is the perfect vacation choice for the avid golfer year-round. For more information, call 888-FLY-HOOT or log on to HootersAir.com. Hooters Air. Easy to buy. Fun to fly.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas fuel treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
Welcome back to Concord Motorsport Park. You're watching USAR Hooters Pro Cup Racing on Speed.
Thank you once again, girls. Couldn't have said it better ourselves, could we, Gene? Stacy Puryear goes down onto pit road, and to the attention of the USAR officials, they've been pretty busy here tonight.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Stop and go. He did have some help there, speaking of Andrew Medlin, in going around in turn 3, and it was judged that Puryear got into him going down there and brought this caution out, or at least had a hand in bringing this caution out as we get set for a restart. Let's see how far Rogers is able to restart this time. Lindley able to hang with him. Marty Lindley really came up through the gearboxes this time.
Bobby Gill down on the inside line again, not on the lead lap. He nudges alongside Marty Lindley, and remember, these are the two cars that were involved. Now they have found each other on the racetrack, even though they're 30-some laps apart.
Well, Marty Lindley, he wasn't really involved. Well, yes, he was. He went to victory lane, but that was some pushing and shoving a lap before Sarvis and Gill went in the wall. That was back at Ace Speedway 3 weeks ago. But Clay Rogers, he doesn't care anything about that. He's trying to set sail Gill, the lap car, some 23 or so laps down, in between your first and second place car in turn 1.
The 84 of Shane Huffman. Jason Sarvis just in front of him. Then it's Lindley forward to the lapped car of Bobby Gill, and some serious real estate forward of that to Clay Rogers, and it seems to be gaining ground every time he stands on the gas.
Down the fastest part of the racetrack here at Concord Motorsports Park as we look back from the rear decklet of the Hooters Ford of Marty Lindley, taking a look at Jason Sarvis and the 22 as they battle for second with that lap car Bobby Gill sandwiched in between themselves and the leader. Benny Gordon, pretty good challenge on Mario Goslin.
This is 4th position on the racetrack. Goslin, as we mentioned, has been hanging around in the top 10. He's currently in 5th position. That's the spot Benny Gordon wants, and it looks like he's got the car to take it.
Well, he's got a bumper that'll sure let Mario know where he's at. Mario trying to hang on, but that car does not want to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. Leaves that preferred groove, the bottom lane, open for Benny Gordon. Gordon just not able to capitalize those closing stages of the race.
Looks like Gordon's car has a little push coming off the corner, and just about the time he's got an opportunity to duck down low, if he can hold it there, he can't.
Looks like Marty Lindley has gotten his way around Bobby Gill. Now Jason Sarvis trying to get around Bobby Gill. That's going to let Shane Huffman close in. 3rd and 4th trying to get by the lap car Bobby Gill.
Well, Gill is always quick, and they're waving that move over flag at him, but he's a racer, and he's going to keep on racing. You can see just every time they go past the flag stand, that blue and yellow move over flag is waving. Bobby Gill moves over and around the lap number 25 car. Stover traveling slowly at the bottom of the racetrack. Takes Jason Sarvis with him. Shane Huffman too.
Let's allow the top 2 to break away. Rogers and Lindley. Now Lindley could spoil the roll we've got going. What a difference a year makes. This time last year, Bobby Gill was winning everything in sight. So far this year, Gill's gone to victory lane 1 time, but no driver has repeated in victory lane, either north or south. It could be that if Lindley can run down Clay Rogers, he could bring that string to a complete end here tonight. Rogers not wanting to hear anything of it, is trying to work around some of the lap traffic. He's got Stover directly ahead of the 25. He's trying to make it to the end here. The Tulsa, Oklahoma driver in a couple of, no, that is the 8 car of Medlin. I am sorry. Those cars painted somewhat similar in appearance from a distance, but Andrew Medlin losing a lap here in the closing stages, and Lindley rather, right there on the bottom side, moving to the low side of Medlin, lost a little bit of time to the leader Rogers. This is shaping up to be a 2-car battle for the win here tonight.
Marty Lindley with 33 top 5 finishes in 80 races, has 7 victories to his credit, and Clay Rogers 16 top 5s in 43 races, because he has kind of come in and out of the series over the last several years on a number of occasions.
Yeah, but Clay Rogers in the championship series, what a fine ride he had at Winchester.
Absolutely.
Man,
Clay
what a
Rogers
run he made.
is dangerous everywhere he goes, and we are at a track that he likes better than any, he says. So far tonight, he has proved that he likes it a lot, and the fans like the way he's been driving. Now, Stephen Christian for position along with Benny Gordon in the 44 car. Late in the race, these two guys have still trying to settle the issue of 5th place. They both went around Mario Gosselin, who was 5th a while ago.
Looks like Huffman now has been able to get around Bobby Gill in that 5th place battle. About the tightest battle around the racetrack right now, at least in the top 10. Benny Gordon, we're going to have to keep our eye on this young man. Has already got a 2nd place finish in his 1 start in the Pro Cup Series. That was the last race at Ace Speedway. I've got a feeling we haven't heard the last from the 44 car or Benny Gordon.
Very good effort out of that number 44 driver in the Baird Auto Transport Johnny's Auto Sale Ford. But Clay Rogers now with Marty Lindley all over the back end of him right now as we get down to the closing laps of this race. This thing is really starting to develop. And indeed, Lindley could be our first repeat winner, or alternatively, Clay Rogers could be our first repeat Concord Motorsport Park winner.
Well, that's true. Repeats are possible here with the top 2 broken away from the rest of the field. I'll bet Elvin Rector is really on that radio, really talking it up to Marty Lindley. There's the battle. Toby Porter trying to get around Michael Rich. Got a little loose that time on the bottom of the racetrack. Stuck the left side tires down on the safety apron. The battle for 8th position as they work by Martin Nesbitt.
Just behind Mario Gosselin running in 7th place. Mario has stayed out of trouble all night long. Has driven a very competent, if unspectacular race. Puff and smoke all night long. Now you're on board with Toby Porter looking square in the back of the Jackaroo 28 car. And Lindley, for the first time, puts a fender on Clay Rogers. Yes, folks, we're down to the money laps, and these boys are racing.
Time to get jiggy up front, and Marty Lindley's ready to pick. Oh! Right into the rear bumper of Clay Rogers.
Just in case Clay wasn't looking in the mirror, Marty said, "Here I am."
Close call. Good job of driving by both drivers to not let that incident get any worse than what it could have been.
Lindley backed out after making contact, let Clay Rogers collect it up again, but they're definitely aware of one another's presence. Of course, Marty knows Clay's there because he's looking square at him. Clay Rogers, if he's not mirror driving or wasn't before, he might be right now.
Inside 10 to go, as you saw by our full field run, or our leader rundown there, the actually fresh rundown. Lindley's got to get it done, and he's been putting the pressure on Rogers. Rogers' car does not want to stay down on the bottom quite as tight as Lindley's does. Both cars starting to slip and slide a little bit, and they've got some traffic directly ahead.
Clay Rogers pointing it down on the low side line, comes up on a very sharp exit there. They go around Don Satterfield's number 1. Don saw him coming, pulled down low on the racetrack, and let him slide on by.
Lindley making another run as they roll off, and caution on the Speedway.
Got a problem. Per year goes around, and a late race caution is probably going to turn this into a green-white checker finish as Stacy Puryear brings out a yellow flag just when things were starting to look like real fun between Marty Lindley and Clay Rogers.
Stacy Puryear stayed out and picked up the halfway money, but was looking for a good finish here tonight and looking for sponsorship on that race car. Couldn't quite see what happened there.
Well, all by himself for the most part.
Like a lot of sparks out of the 9 car of Chad Mullis.
Nobody in the neighborhood when Stacy Puryear headed for the wall by himself. And Clay Rogers gets to woe down with Marty Lindley, and they'll have a couple of laps to think about it. And indeed, it's going to be a 2-lap shootout here at Concord Motorsports Park. There's the trophy. We're ready. How about you?
People think that the Australian outback is full of young, wild ranch hands called jackaroos. Fact is, jackaroos are quite civilized. Until they grab hold of the big, bold taste of their favorite jackaroo barbie sauce. Then things can get a bit out of hand. Every jackaroo knows, if you don't have jackaroo barbie sauce, you ain't got jack.
Come on in. Have a seat and I'll be right back. I've never actually done this on the second date before, but I really like you. I thought maybe we could do something different and exciting. You know, fresh. Here goes. Surprise!
Surprise? Naturally fresh, light ranch dressing.
Naturally.
Get fresh with someone tonight. Naturally fresh.
The Naturally Fresh Foods 250 presented by Jenny O Turkey Store. Down to the nitty-gritty. Brian Trevor and Gene Crane upstairs. Doug Rice down on pit road getting ready to interview the winner. We just don't know who the winner is going to be. Right now, however, he's caught up with the crew chief on the man who's leading this race, Clay Rogers.
Okay, Brad, when the green comes back out, just a handful of laps, can you hold off Marty Lindley?
I think so. I think his caution helped us out a little bit there. Marty was catching us on that long green run there, so we'll see.
Exactly what we saw early on, Brian, that Clay could jump out and get a pretty good advantage on these restarts. And of course, cautions fell so quickly in the early stages that Marty really never got a long run. We got a glimpse of what Marty had in a long run, but green, white, and checker, he's going to have to get it done and get it done in a hurry.
Oh, and Clay Rogers has absolutely been a genius on these restarts. It's a lot easier to lead 2 laps than it is 10 or 20. And that's exactly what Clay Rogers has to do right now to pick up his first win and become the 8th different winner in 8 races here in the Hooters Pro Cup Series 2003. Down inside, Gosselin and Stephen Christian trying to settle the issue a little deeper in the field. Clay Rogers with not quite a car length between himself and Marty Lindley and a lap to go.
Marty's car slipped just a little bit there out of turn 3, and that let Rogers scamper away by another half car length. Looks like Rogers, unless he can throw this one away in turn 3, but here comes Lindley. Lindley closing in deep. Got it into hot. It's not going to be enough.
And Clay Rogers will become a repeat winner at Concord Motorsports Park and our 8th different winner for the 2003 season. At a track he said right from the beginning he liked very much. He started from the pole. He led all but 32 laps, including the one that counted the most, this one right here.
I'm going to tell you, another lap, I got a feeling Marty Lindley might have stepped up and taken that one away. He was really charging.
Or he might have stepped up and created a situation like he was handed last week when the 2 leaders got into one another and Lindley was given a win. But Clay Rogers is going to do the celebration donuts, paint his signature on the surface of the racetrack here at Concord Motorsport Park. Now he heads the other way for his Polish victory lap in honor of the late great Alan Kulwicki, one of the men for whom we race here in Hooters Pro Cup Series competition. We'll be back to talk to the winners in a moment. Stay with us. You want to be here for that.
It's his 20th anniversary, and we're throwing a party. Reserve your place for the double-decade celebration and meet me and Hooters girls past and present at Paris, Las Vegas. Come to Hooters today and test your knowledge of our 20-year trivia to win a trip to Vegas and a chance to play blackjack with me for $1 million. Even if you don't win, you can still party. Call 888-PARTY-20 to reserve your place today. It's a delightfully double decade. Hooters 20th anniversary.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extends the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
USAR Hooters Pro Cup Racing has been brought to you by Hooters, the cure for the common restaurant. Naturally fresh salad dressing. Look for it in your supermarket's produce section. Miller Lite. Miller Lite is the official sponsor of the USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series. Lucas Oil Products. Lucas Oil Products is a leader in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants.
Well, Clay Rogers on fire tonight. Climbs out of the Fire Protection Services number 29 in victory lane and into the waiting microphone of Doug Rice in a moment, but not before he's congratulated by some of his friends and fans that have made it down inside. Let's turn it over to Doug Rice. Doug.
All right, Clay Rogers being mobbed by his crew. We'll see if we can't sneak in and get a word or two. Clay, you dominated this race tonight. You started on the pole, but Marty Lindley sure made it interesting for you over those last few laps.
I tell you what, we got tight the first segment, and he started closing back in, and Bill Boger and Brad Fritz, all these guys down in the pits here to help us out all the time. They made a great call to raise the track bar and close the stagger up and open it up in the rear, and we did a lot to free it up, and it still got tight again right there at the end of the race, and that's why he was getting to me that, and I kind of clipped the lap car a little bit there. I thought he'd give me some room, but he didn't. And his Fire Protection Services, Metco.com, Ford Taurus was hauling butt tonight, man. He was wanting to make it wire to wire, but we didn't catch the right caution.
You have got to love this place. In 3 races here, you've had 3 pole positions, now 2 wins and a runner-up at Concord. Yeah, you love calling Concord home, don't you?
I love Concord. I love this whole area. This is Race City, USA, or Race County, USA, whatever you want to call it. There's race teams all around here, and a lot of them's in the stands tonight, and it feels good to win in front of a home crowd. And I'm sure a lot of the people in the stands tonight were here when I won that big late model stock race down here. And it's just great. I got to thank everybody, my mom and dad, and all my friends that are so close to me and that help me and dig hard on this race car all the time. We're going to Charlotte in 2 weeks. We're going to give Kyle Busch a run for his money.
All right, he's talking about the fact he'll be running the ARCA race at nearby Lowe's Motor Speedway in a couple of weeks. But tonight he's got to be busy here at Concord with his victory celebration.
Woo! Well, we had our congratulations to Clay Rogers for winning this one. Take a look at the results. Marty Lindley in the runner-up spot. Jason Sarvis made his way to the front after all kinds of drama here tonight. Steve Christian eventually getting the best of Mario Gosselin. Even Shane Wallace, after a trio of incidents and stop and goes, made it up to 11th position. Now we're looking at cars that did not finish on the lead lap, including Bobby Gill, who finished in 21st position here tonight. Todd Hirschfeld 24th, and there you can see some of the very early attrition in the race, including Adam Dean and, of course, Daniel Johnson, who was the first driver out of the race, former rookie of the year. We've got co-winners in the Hard Charger Award. Number 94, Keith Rogan, who started in 26th position, along with Buggy Pletcher, who started 29th and finished 15th. Let's go back to Doug.
Catching a well-deserved break on the pit wall here at Concord, Marty Lindley. Marty, you drove the wheels off of it tonight, and you really gave Clay a handful there in the closing laps.
Yeah, it's odd. The Hooters Ford was better on a long run tonight. Last week at Ace, when we won the race, it was better on a short run. It's just, you know, we had an awful good car. Didn't want to see the caution laps there at the end, but Clay had a good car. You know, we had an awesome pit stop. I want to thank my crew. We got blocked in, or I think we'd have beat everybody out of the pits pretty bad. So I just want to thank them for doing a good job. Thank all my sponsors, Automotive Specialists, for building a heck of a motor, Hooters, and need to thank Halt Brakes. My brakes stayed under me all night. They've been a big supporter of ours for 2 years, so we'll go to Lakeland and see if we can't win it.
Did you feel like that last caution flag might have punched a hole in any chance you had of winning tonight?
Yeah, if you paid attention to the race, we just wasn't real good for about 2 or 3 laps, and we made a charge at him getting in a 3 there, and the thing wouldn't hook up to about 3 or 4 laps, and, you know, that's the difference in a race.
Marty Lindley comes a couple of car lengths short of being the first 2-time winner this year.
The streak continues. 8 different drivers going to victory lane so far in 2003. The other streak, however, ends a repeat winner here at Concord in the Pro Cup Series. Bobby Gill, very dejected there in the pit area beside his hauler. Not quite the night he was looking for.
Well, but he might benefit from what he criticized last year after winning so many races, you know, and was not the season champion. Here he's kind of suffering a little bit, but all he has to do is get in to the playoffs, if you want to call it that, as we take a look at our points. Rookie of the race, Benny Gordon. And that's the second time he's earned that honor for a runner-up finish, and tonight for finishing 5th. We went from 9th to 5th position. Our next TV date, join us here for the Hooters Pro Cup 250 on Thursday, May 29th at 7 p.m. That's become Hooters time here on Speed. Our thanks to Racing Electronics, the best golf cars, and all the other folks that help make at Hooters Pro Cup Racing just a little bit easier. Our job is to bring you these broadcasts, and we certainly enjoy doing it. Congratulations to Clay Rogers for another win at Concord. My thanks to my broadcast partners Gene Crane and Doug Rice. I'm Brian Drebber, as always, thanking you for joining us.